This video is all about digital art, beginner to beginner. It's not about trying to convince anyone to make digital art, but more about telling you about the fun and the excitement that I'm having discovering digital tools to create my art. Yes, I'm a beginner, but oh, what a journey it's been so far. While I'm chattering away, on one side of the screen, you'll see a digital painting of Penelope Rose. Yes, she agreed to sit still and pose if I hurry, so I put it in fast forward. I call my process of digital art painting with light. So I have a question. How do you hold a sunbeam, a ray of light? Even a cursory study of the science of color is so fascinating to me. We see different colors because of the way that physical objects reflect light. I find that the relationship between light and the physical world very intriguing. Then enters the concept of digital colors, manipulating tiny elements of electronic pulses to simulate the color, shape, and texture of art. Very interesting. And if one could delve deeper into the science of the digital, the color, the science of light, I'm sure that there would be more mysteries to discover. That is a part of what makes this digital art so very interesting to me. This video is a part of a video hop by a group of YouTube artists who explore and create digital art. Let me tell you, there is really some excellent talent out there. After you watch my video, take a moment to explore the videos in the description box below. I find that there's just a bit more of a mental process to creating digital art. That part does get easier as you become more familiar with the software package that you're using and its capabilities. Software is software. It is written to do what you tell it to do. You instruct it to draw a line, it draws a line. If you tell it to choose the color red, it chooses the color red. Rarely does it deviate. Yes, there are those unhappy accidents, but generally they're of a different nature. You are the boss, so you have to think through what you're doing just a little bit more. But I find that that's part of the fun of digital art. And if your software does not do what you think is a reasonable request, like a text box, well then that's a sure sign that you need to look for a more advanced software package. Digital software can be a tool to create art, illustrations, cards, embellishments, and all sorts of visuals. It can be a planning tool, and it can be a library tool. Recently, I've been having so much fun using my mobile digital art applications to do urban sketching. This is just a whole new chapter in my urban sketching journey. You know, I find that I draw less attention when I'm sketching on my phone using a digital art application than if I'm using a pen and paper. Well, those people out there who would normally look at me and wonder what I'm doing, they look at me and think, oh, she's texting on her phone. Little do they know that I'm creating a masterpiece. I wanted to talk just a little bit about things that you can look for, beginner to beginner, when you're thinking about purchasing or trying out a digital art software. Now, I'm talking beginner to beginner. If you are an expert digital artist, you probably know all this, and you probably know more than I know about it. But as I've explored different software packages, I've picked up on a few things that I expect to see even in demonstration versions. And I would say to beginners, try out those demo versions before you put out your good money for a software package that you end up not liking. Software developers offer these digital demo versions so that you can get an idea what their package can do. As I've tried different software packages, I've picked up on some things, and I've listed them here, of things that I would expect to see in a good digital art software package. First of all, you want a good set of brushes, pens, pencils, and other art tools. And the really good applications give you the capability to change a lot of the options within each one of these. They'll give you different types of drawing tools. They'll give you pencils and crayons and pastels and sponges. They'll give you paint brushes of different sizes. They'll give you the capability to change the opacity and the width and the size of a line. So those are some things you want to look for. And if you see that in your art tool, you pretty well be assured that you're looking at a good software package. You'll also want a color palette or a color wheel. I haven't seen a digital art software that does not have a color wheel or a color palette. You'll want cut and paste and copy functions. Now in some of these demo versions, they will padlock some of these things until you buy the official version, but a lot of them give you that capability even in the demo software. You'll want to be able to import and export and save off your masterpieces. You'll want text and text rotation. I have found on the mobile applications that you do not get a wide range of fonts generally, and I think that's because most mobile devices do not have a library of fonts, such as your desktop software would. You'll want layering functions. That's the ability to create different layers of the painting and then merge them all together. You'll want scanning functions, and I find that a gallery option or a gallery function is really nice so that you can save off different versions of your creation as you're creating it. On this screen, I've listed some of the internet sites that I personally use to get images free of copyright. The Wiki Commons, the New York Public Library, the Library of Congress, the Graphics Fairy, and my own camera. Always, always, always check the copyright of an image. If you cannot determine that it's in the public domain, and the public domain means that it's free for you to use, then you should conclude that it's already been copyrighted. I have really been having a lot of fun doing digital art on my phone. I really like it because I can carry my phone with me practically every place I go, and if I have a few moments, I can just sit down and do some art. Nobody really knows what I'm doing. They think that I'm texting on my phone. So it's really a fun, portable way to create art. You're looking at a few of the applications that I use. The Sketchbooks X and the Autodesk. Let me move these around here. The Sketchbook X, which is the blue one that you see here, that is a free application, and I liked it so well that I went ahead and purchased the Autodesk that you see here. I also like this ArtFlow application. Now these are all for Android. I'm sure that there are similar softwares for the iPhone. I'm not going to get into those because I don't have an iPhone. This is a selfie that I took this morning. What I want to do is sort of cut out a feathered image, and I'll show you what I mean. What I'm going to do is a cut and paste. So what I'm going to do is hit this little toolbar that gives me my options that I can use. But what I'm going to do now is hit the selection tool, and that will give me some options to do my cut with. I'm going to use this lasso tool. Let's go over here and do a new sketch. I'm going to choose this 1280 by 720 because that fits into my video. I'm going to save this as a copy. Gives me a new sketch. I'm going to go to my layers. I'm going to hit this, and I'm going to paste. There we go. That's what I wanted. But I'm going to choose my airbrush. And I'm just going to airbrush in some gold. Let's bring this clear down because I just want to airbrush in the background. It's really kind of what I wanted. There we go. See what I'm doing with this photo? Now, what if I wanted this, my photograph, on the other side? Let's go back to our tools here. Let's go to the transform, and let's see what happens there. And I can move it around again, too. I put myself back over on the other side. I think I like it on the other side a little bit better. Let's do a very definite line. Let's go to this line. Let's just play around with this compositionally. What I like to do is put a
little black, kind of a scratchy border around everything. Let's save this. And I'll go to my gallery, save current sketch. So you can see I have a progression here. You can see in this same thumbnail folder, you can see where I have the thumbnails of the ones that I created when I put up my promo video. And I really like being able to save different versions, and we're going to duplicate it. I want to keep a version of it so that I can have the different versions as I go along. I'm going to work on this one. So we're going to bring it back into on our desktop. And what I want to do is another cut. And I'm going to cut around this entire rectangle. And it did cut it. Go back into my layers, click on the little layer square and do my paste. And there it is. You can adjust this however you want. I like to kind of give it an edge. Now what I'll do is I'll take this image, this thumbnail image, when I'm done with it, and I'll transfer it over to my PC. I'm happy with this as a thumbnail. So I'm going to save it to my gallery. And then another option I want to show you is I want to share this sketch. I'm going to save it off onto my little SD card. Save to device. There we go. Now at this point I'm going to end in this. I've been in this Autodesk application. I'm going to end it, and then I'm going to go over onto my PC, and I'm going to work with this thumbnail a little bit more.
What you are looking at is a desktop software for Windows, Artweaver 5 free. This is a free demo version. I really do like it. I find it has a lot of the capabilities that I was just talking about in the previous segment on my video. Here is my thumbnail. I created this thumbnail on my phone and I imported it into my PC. And the reason I did that is because I want to use the text on this software because it gives me all these fonts. It gives me a whole range of fonts. I don't find that I have all these fonts on my mobile software, probably because the mobile devices do not have font libraries. So that's primarily why I did that. I also want to lighten up this right-hand side of the screen. Well, I wanted to show you some of the features of this software, and these are things that you should be looking for. Here's the pen brush tool, and look at everything that you get here. This is the free version. You get an acrylic tool, you get airbrushes, you get an artist paint tool, you get calligraphy, chalk, charcoal, Conte, crayons, erasers, felt pens, image stamps, oil pastels, oils, pencils. You get a smear, you get sponges, and you get this called thick impasto. That's a really thick textured line. Down here is your move tool and your shape selection tool. On that you get your rectangle, rounded rectangles, you get circles. You get a crop tool, a lasso tool, which is kind of like a free-form selection tool. You get a grid, text tool. This is the shape tool again. You get all these different shapes. They even give you some free shapes out there that you can import into your design as you wish. You get a gradient tool over here, an eraser, a stamp tool. Here's a color dropper tool, which helps you choose the color that you want, a fill tool. This is a zoom tool, and this little hand tool helps you move things around. Here shows you what colors, your foreground and background. Over here, you get into, when you're using your brushes, you get into all those different brush options. You have a color palette, a color wheel, and then you have the layers down here on the lower right hand side. So this, I really think this is a really nice Artweaver 5 free version. I'm going to open up my thumbnail image here. This is my little logo for my YouTube channel. And I wanted to show you that I can open up multiple tabs in this software. I find that really nice because I can work with a host of different images out there all at once. Let's go back to that thumbnail. You have a selection. I can select that entire thumbnail, edit, copy, come back over to my other version, edit, paste, and then you can see that how large it is. I want it smaller, so I can go to my layer function. You can see down in the lower right I have a layer 1 and a layer 2. I'm going to go to my layer here and transform it and scale it down so that it looks nice on my thumbnail. Just like this. There we go. And you can, here I'll apply it, and then I'm going to merge and merge it down. Now another thing that I want to do is this area on the right hand side of the screen, I want to lighten that up quite a bit because I want my text to show. And if you look at my thumbnails, especially my more recent ones, you'll find that the images on my thumbnails are muted. Let's go here to edit, image, adjustments, brightness. And I mute my images or fade them out because I like my text to show a lot. Here I want to edit, copy, edit, paste. Edit, image adjustments, brightness. Now I'm just going to lighten this right hand side of the screen. I want it very, very light because I want to put text there. I like that a lot. And the reason I mute my images on my thumbnails, and because I use them in my video also as a splash screen. You'll see my thumbnail at the beginning of my video and at the end of my video, but also I want my text to stand out. Now let's merge these two layers down. I'm going to flatten the image. I'm going to go out to my text, which is why I come in here in the first place, because I like all these these fonts. I use the A.R. Christie font. I'm going to change the color here. I like a deep red color, maybe almost into a reddish brown color. And I'm going to come up here and type The.Meri.Atelier. I'm going to make that a little bit larger. It's a little bit easier to see on a smaller thumbnail, like that. I'm going to apply that, layer it down, just flatten the image here, and then I'm going to come down here, make my text a little bit smaller again, and put in hashtag digital art unleashed, which is our video hop hashtag, our video hop hashtag. And then I'll come down and I'm going to type in beginner to beginner. I'm going to apply that and flatten the image again. Now I'm pretty happy with this just the way it is. I'm going to cut out this image now. I want to feather it just a little bit more. I'm just cutting an irregular image out of my art tool here, and I'll show you the reasoning. All right, I've selected an irregular image. I'm going to copy it. Come up to my file. I'm going to create a new. I have this already set to the size I want. And here I've got a new background image. And I can put that, size it down to any size that I want. I like to work on about this size. Edit, paste. Now, this is fairly small, so what I want to do is go into my layer function and select the scale, and I'm going to scale it up. And what I'm doing is making a dark border around my thumbnails. I like a dark border around them, and I like the irregular edge. That's the style of thumbnail that I'm using now. I won't say that I'll always use it, but that's what I'm using right now, and that's what I'm happy with. I'll pull this out just a little bit more, just about like that, and come up here and apply it. There we go. Very happy with that. Usually the text on my thumbnails are a little bit larger. I usually have it across the entire thumbnail, but I wanted to include this digital photograph on my thumbnail this time, so I put all the text on the right-hand side of the screen. Fairly happy with that. I think I'll use that as my thumbnail in my video. Now all I need to do is save it and come down, and here's the save functions. Look, they've got an import and an export. You can upload it to the artweaverteam.com site. You can print it with a preview. I find it's a very nice software. But let's come down here and I can save as. So there we go. There's my thumbnail. I hope that you've enjoyed this digital presentation. I've tried to tell you about different software that I use, different mobile software that I use. I pointed out things that you should look for if you're just getting started. I can tell you that digital art is really fun. It's fun to explore it. It's fun to see what different software can do. It's an artistic journey for me. I will see you on the next page.